Donald Trump wants to project this idea that he is in control of this shutdown thing, which he said when he launched it that it was his and he wouldn't blame anyone. He has since blamed everyone for it,
right,
saying the buck stops everywhere.
Everyone.
And he's totally in control, even though you can map out his deteriorating mental state via Twitter in real time. And he's sort of losing it. And bear in mind, we're in the 24th day now of this shutdown. So this is, by several days, the longest shutdown in US government history. So yay, we're #1 in having a government that doesn't function. So that's awesome.
Yay.
Now, hypothetically, you could blame multiple groups for this shutdown. Assuming you didn't pay any attention whatsoever to us entering into it, you might think that various people are to blame. But if you talk to the American people, over half, 53%, say the president and his party should shoulder most of the blame for the closures. 29% point their finger at Democrats in Congress. Just 13% of Americans say both sides should be held accountable as the shutdown continues to drag on.
I want to take the phrase "both sides" and eat it. Like honestly, I hate it worse than fake news. At least fake news has become comical. Unfortunately, it's also become deadly. So I guess never mind. Actually, I think fake news is just going to have to take it. Never mind. I'm working things out.
Well, you could, while you are hating fake news, you can eat both sides.
Yeah, like I mean, it has not been used for something that's just not absolutely ridiculous and offensive.
Yeah, well, look, if you, in the most shallow sense possible, both sides are responsible.
It reminds
because the
me
Democrats could just give him $100 billion for a wall and the shutdown would end.
Yeah, but like women can like not be sexually harassed if they don't wear low-cut shirts.
Thus, both sides are to blame.
Right,
if you're a
and that's
moron.
what it sounds like. Yes. Right, exactly. It's like what? That doesn't work.
Now, let's just point out, 29% blame Democrats in Congress, which by the way is below what I consider the Trump's core base, which is like 32 to 36% of the country. That means that even some of them have apparently flipped and say, well, yeah, no, it's Trump. It's Trump. Now, maybe they think that it's a good thing that he's doing it, but they do think that it's his fault. And so that is going on. And bear in mind, like to say that both sides are responsible is to have a memory only slightly longer than a goldfish's, because of course, this shutdown, while it's now in its 24th day, that was less than a month ago. And we remember that it started when Republicans had unified control of government. When the Senate unanimously passed a budget that Donald Trump had previously signed off for, now the Republicans in the House voted it down, so that's their fault. Now the Democrats are in, they vote for it. So all he has to do is sign off on a budget that all of the Republicans in the Senate and he had previously agreed to. He chooses not to. So to look at that situation and say it's the Democrats' fault is insane.
It's right, it is not. It's not good journalism. You know what I mean? And that's what's being portrayed in a lot of news stories. It's not good journalism because then essentially Congress is not doing their jobs. Like Democrats in Congress are not doing their jobs. If this is not what, the people who voted you in there, if this is not what they want, if this is not the best budget, if this is not the most responsible thing, if this is racist, don't vote for it.
Yeah.
And there's no focus at all on that. The Senate is just refusing to call his bluff. Why not?
Yeah, in terms of vetoing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we might come to that.
Yeah.
We might come to that. Right now, they apparently believe that there's still a chance that he's gonna come out victorious on this. I think most of the country has moved on from that position, but some Republicans in the Senate still believe it. And I think whether he wants to admit it or not, I think that he is feeling it now. And that comes through in a couple of different ways over the weekend. So let's break down some of the ways that he is apparently cracking under the pressure. So he said this, and it's both kind of crazy and a little bit sad. It almost makes you feel for him. He said on Twitter, I just watched a fake reporter from the Amazon Washington Post say the White House is, quote, chaotic. There does not seem to be a strategy for this shutdown. There is no plan. The fakes always like talking chaos. What is he, Holden Caulfield? There is none. In fact, there's almost nobody in the White House but me. And that's just, first of all, you think the White House is chaotic? It can't be chaotic. There's nobody here.
Right.
It's the government, you weirdo. You're not Willy Wonka. There should be people there. So that's weird. And second of all, it reminds me before Christmas where he's like, poor me, I'm alone in the White House.
Right.
You have a family.
The other part, like there was, he's like, I wish I could show you the beauty. I mean, you can take a picture, you're on Twitter. You could tweet a picture. I like, if you're by, just tweet a picture.
You can.
Like, right?
And let me just make clear before trolls in the comments, I know about Oompa Loompas, I do get them. So he goes on to say, I do have a plan on the shutdown, but I love this. But to understand that plan, you would have to understand the fact that I won the election and I promised safety and security for the American people. Part of that promise was a wall at the southern border. Elections have consequences.
Also, part of that promise was that Mexico would pay for it. That was like the major part of the promise. That was I think, the biggest part of the promise. That's what people were so focused on, that you said, not only are you gonna get this done, but that America's not gonna suffer because of it, because you're such a businessman and you're such a negotiator that Mexico's gonna pay for it. You can't like pick and choose which parts of your words that you wanna now like own. Wait, what?
Look, you're 100% right, but I also think you're being a little bit too easy on him. In terms of how absurd that is. Look, elections have consequences is totally a phrase. I totally get it.
We know that now.
That's true, but it's not any election. There was once an election has consequences. It means the most recent one. That's what the phrase means. We've had another election since then. An election that did not have to be about the border or immigration or border security or anything like that. You chose to try to make it like that in the weeks leading up to the election. You dispatched the military to the border. You made up the thing about the caravan. You talked about it nonstop. And you lost control of the House in a gigantic wave election. So sorry, elections have consequences. You wanted it to be about the wall. Looks like if it's about the wall, the people don't support you. And we know that only like 1/3 of the American public actually supports building the wall anyway, or passing any sort of budget if it includes wall funding.
And we're working on them, okay?
Exactly, we're working on them. So just ridiculous. It's like last week when he said the buck stops with everyone. It's like he sort of is interested in history, but doesn't quite get how the language works. There is one other little bit that shows that I think that he's starting to fray along the edges just a little bit. It's a video from this weekend. Here it is.
Well, I haven't actually left the White House in months, and in all fairness, I'm doing a lot of other work. It's not just that, but that's a very important element of what I'm doing, because we have to get the southern border done. And I've been here virtually every night, I guess every night, other than one day I flew to Iraq and then to Germany to see our troops.
Yes.
And it was great to see them. Was great. The level of love they have for this country is incredible. So I flew and then came back. I'm not even sure I actually missed a night per se, but basically I've been here for many months in the White House, and I'm a worker. I'm like you. I'm a worker.
You are a worker.
Frankly,
Okay, so that last quote from Pierre was just sad. I know you are a worker. Okay, so he says, I haven't left for months. He acknowledges that he took a trip to the Middle East briefly. He also, just a couple of days ago, went down to the border. What are you talking? Like, it's the easy thing is to say that this is a sign of deteriorating mental health, which it could be. I don't think that that's actually what it is. I think it is that this guy who got elected on the idea that he is a strong alpha male is just constantly looking for pity. And so it's not that he doesn't understand that he's left many times in the last few months, it's that he just wants people to feel sorry for him, like with that previous tweet and like with the tweet about Christmas. This is the guy who's supposed to be so strong that he can just bowl over the Democrats and get his wall funding while looking for pity because, you have to be in the White House.
Right, does it sound like someone who just doesn't respect the office of the presidency? Like, I liken that to like the idea that you come to work every day and at noon, you're like, I haven't left this chair all day. Okay.
Yeah, there are many people who would love to be in the White House, and I would give it to literally any of them right now. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.